It is the start of a year, and usually we don't say the year starts until after Australia Day or after the tennis. So my question, and realistically, at any time, we need to think about what are we doing in our business. Kayla, you wanted to do an episode on a topic like, don't do this, we suck at life last year, we did this wrong.
I'm a pessimist.
I'm a pessimist, naturally. So why did you want to do this episode, and what is this episode?
Well, I love reflection. I love self-reflection. And what a better time of year than the beginning of the year to self-reflect, and what we're going to be bringing from last year, good or bad, learnings into this year with our businesses. As a business owner myself, I've been consuming a lot of that content. So let's add to the noise, shall we?
Yeah. And, our working notes for kind of this episode was like, learn from our mistakes. So, and so I think just in terms of, for easier to talk about, I'm going to basically talk about, well, what am I going to do this year that maybe I wasn't doing in the past?
For sure.
And the goal of this episode would be for anyone listening in their business, or if you want to start a business soon, think about what do you want to do this year? And just, I think, reset, start of the year, some key focus areas of the business or a general vibe with what you want to do. Kayla Mals, just talk to people who might be new. What do you do?
I own a marketing agency called Allies Management. We're located in Brisbane, but we've got clients all over Australia. I also am a marketing consultant, and I work on strategy consultation with businesses. So you can find my business at Allies Management on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the platforms, or Kayla Mols, by Kayla Mols on Instagram.
Awesome. My name is Glenn James, and this is Business. What are you not going to do this year? Do you want to do ping pong?
Let's do ping pong.
Yeah. So what's your first one?
So this is going to sound painfully basic, but no more starting work until contracts are signed or deposits are paid. Especially with friends.
Yes.
Towards the end of last year, I was burnt by a friend who I did some creative work with, and I can see them using the work that we have created for them, and they haven't paid their invoice yet. And that's completely on me, to be honest, for not taking the deposit or setting the contract. And I think with other clients, I usually stick to my processes, but I was, this is a friend, I trust them.
How long's it been since they've paid you, or not since you've issued the invoice? It'd
be about 2 months overdue.
And have you talked to them about it?
I've been emailing them, and I'm about to give them a call. And
I don't know if they're actually in the friend category.
I have realised that they're not after this.
Yeah.
And I, because I've been on their Instagram and stuff trying to get in touch with them, I've been getting their ads. So it's not like they don't have any money to pay.
So just the way you're framing it, it's like, I need to email them, or I've been trying to get in touch with them. That's not a friend. That's someone in your world.
I shouldn't. They are a professional friend.
Right.
So
a colleague.
A colleague, you could say, yeah. So not someone that I'm seeing at Christmas lunch or anything like that.
It's like my friends, if I invoice my friends for something and they owed me money, I'd pick up the phone and be like, pay your bill, idiot.
Yeah, this is more of a professional friend, I will say. So I've tried to keep it professional, but
They're not your friend.
I've realised that now, and I've come to terms with the fact that even professional friends, it's really easy to get lazy, honestly, with your processes. But I'm not doing that. No more.
So what will you put as what is your process, or what will be your process? So if I came to you and was like, oh, I need this scope of work done, say it's $5,000
Yep.
over 3 months or 6 months, what's your process now going to be?
Yeah, so we use a proposal software where you can process your deposit, sign the contract. So we usually do 50% deposit up front, 50% upon completion. And I just need to enforce that a little bit better.
Yeah. We're not picking up mouse pointers. We're not picking up any tools until the deposit's been paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you ever do it so it's a deposit to start the work and then you send the invoice for once the job's done and then deliver the work?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's easier that way if you're like, we're editing a heap of stuff for you, pay and we release it. But I mean, if it's ongoing consulting stuff.
Yeah, ongoing is a little bit different. This was a project base. So, yeah, exactly that. 50% up front, 50% upon completion, and then we release the work. So the process is there within my business. I think I just, you help friends and you...
They're not friends. You
do
help
the
people.
whole thing, right?
Help people. Yeah.
Yeah. No more of that in 2026. Not on my watch.
Yeah, gosh.
What about you? What are you bringing into the year?
Yeah, one thing, it sounds really weird, and maybe I've got a different expectation of myself and a different view of myself and the stuff that I do versus what people see. But, we're going into like our 8th year of having the podcast, and I haven't ever really put much effort into doing content. So I'm going to be actually putting effort in, more effort into each individual episode. So like, for example, we're doing YouTube now for, this show and the other shows. For the main shows, particularly Retire Right and the Money, Money, Money show, every single show episode will have an accompanying slide deck.
Yeah.
Just to make it more visually engaging. And even, we've done a couple of episodes today seeing, organising the slides. So it's like picture-in-picture type stuff.
Yeah.
And for those who are watching this on YouTube, for example, I can do this and you can see us there and I can, add stuff and draw, and it would just make it a bit more engaging for the listener.
I think as well, particularly for the money podcast, when I would listen driving, and sometimes you're talking about like numbers and different things. I'm very visual, so it's a lot easier to see that on screen rather than me trying to do quick math in my head and my earphones.
Totally, and that's why it's like I need to put more actual effort in to the individual content day on day.
Yeah,
like that is just gone are the days, and it might still happen, but there's been times where we do an episode and thousands of people will watch it and listen to it, where I prep it within the 15 minutes before.
Yeah.
Now that, people might go, wow, that's crazy that you don't think you prep anything. It's more I know I could actually, if I put effort in, get a better result. Now, granted, my lack of effort over the last 8 years, that could be like a 12 out of 10 on someone's normal scale.
Yeah.
So I may operate at a higher capacity level and all that stuff, and often business owners do.
Yeah.
Or, well, I think, and everyone knows their own kind of between 1 and 10, everyone knows based on their 1 to 10 what number of effort they're putting in.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm trying to say is I've been running at probably a 6 or 7. I know I can do 9 or 10s each individual episode, but my 6 or 7s could be that 11 or 12 for someone else.
Yes, that makes sense. Do you feel like by putting more effort in, you're going to enjoy recording more because it's changing it up?
Yeah, I just think one of the reasons is, everyone has got to, YouTube show now. Everyone's got a podcast. Everyone's got a money show. In a commercial world, like, sure, I only do things for my audience. But what if I put extra effort in, which enabled someone to want to share the content with someone else?
Yeah.
Like, this is just like, all right, how can I really look at making each individual thing as best as possible? So if someone rolls in and listens or watches one, they've seen a 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 effort by me, not a 6.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're not, when you were saying before with, say, prepping 15 minutes before, it doesn't sound like you're doing a huge amount of prep beforehand. Like, you're putting little things in, like the iPad and like those. It's not a lot of like additional work per se. It's just bit more production.
Yeah, no, I think it is. It will be a bit more work because to put the effort in means I need to be more planned and more detailed. So it's going to be, I'm showing my work live to people on YouTube where before I can just quickly paste stuff, quickly write 3 bullet points and I know I can talk about that one bullet point for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Where to put more effort in now is like, okay, how do I make it so this content can look good on YouTube and be engaging?
Yeah.
And that does require the extra effort and time.
Slightly different skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this kind of swings back into the broader business planning where Rach and Jess and the team, they kind of do the production-y stuff. So once we record here, we upload it and they do all the editing, the glitch checking, the uploaded and the post-production and production stuff.
Yep.
What it actually means is I need to plug in some type of workflow into pre-production.
Yeah, okay.
And that might mean Ryan here in the studio helping me more with pre-production and then even on the post-production, and this is like me putting more personal effort in, which means the team will need to also potentially do other stuff. Like on YouTube, I want to do it so there's like a potentially dedicated person who just does overlays to make it good. And like an ad will swing across the bottom for our book or I want to make this, I want to put effort into this whole thing this year.
Yeah. It's a completely different medium going from I'm going to sound like I'm mansplaining like YouTube and podcasts, but podcasts you're just worrying about the audio.
Yeah.
Whereas YouTube, you've got this completely other different medium that you
Oh,
have
really?
to
Tell me more.
focus on.
I'm
So you
sitting
have
there
these
like,
things called eyes,
I'm
and then
literally
you-
sitting there like the Willy Wonka meme, like, tell me more about this.
I'm mansplaining
medium.
your own business.
No, I
to
get
you.
it. So that's what I want to do more this year.
Yeah.
What's your next point? Actually, tell me right after this.
If you're after personal financial advice, don't get it from a podcast. But if you want guidance tailored to your situation, head to moneypodcast.com.au and click Get Help. We'll connect you with one of our trusted professionals, financial advisors and mortgage brokers, who work with people right across Australia. No matter where you are, they can help. Now, before we get back to the show, a quick reminder to protect your financial life. That means having income protection sorted. It means having death cover if there's any debt or dependents relying on you. It means getting your personal insurance in order. Most people insure their car, they insure their house, but what about themselves? Sky Wealth, who support this podcast, are specialist financial advisors who can help you get the right cover in place. Their advice is often more comprehensive and better value than going direct through your super. Book a complimentary 15-minute chat at sky.com.au. That's skye.com.au. And they'll point you in the right direction.
Okay, Kayla, you're now going to do, first and foremost, don't start any work unless someone pays. Then what are you going to do?
So I'm actually going to go script.
Yeah, I don't care.
Oh my God.
My life isn't a script.
what you were talking about, putting effort in, I guess to complement that, kind of, I'm bringing more self-belief into 2026.
Yeah, baby.
I had a couple of sales calls towards the end of last year with potential clients, and I really picked up on the fact that these people didn't believe in themselves as business owners, and it just really solidified how important confidence is and putting yourself out there and believing that you can do whatever you want to do. And it sounds like fluffy and cheesy and whatever, but you only get out what you put in. And putting effort in, I've realized I would love to 10 times what I put in so I can 10 times what I get out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think you can actually, I know it's just semantics and the wording.
Yeah.
But in the way business goes, you'd want to do it so I'm putting 10 times more in to get 15 or 20 out.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of, what I'm doing.
So what was your next one?
I think for me, it's actually being well and truly more strategic and actually looking at the business. And we've always got to do this, but it's important to do it. We come up for air and we be strategic with doing it. And
January is a great time to do that.
And that is, what is our core business? What makes most of the money? We need to make sure we're focusing on that still.
Yeah.
And getting rid of any distractions. And that means pruning, if it means cutting stuff off.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of ties in to putting the effort in, but
into the right things.
Yeah. So I'm going to put effort into the top 3 or 4 things only.
Yep.
And then, because as a leader, we have to set the tone of where the business is going. And I think as a leader, it's, you with a leader, you're not on the chariot whipping the team and they're pulling you. You're at the front walking along the chariot and they're kind of working. So you want to take the team with you. And it is like saying, okay, as a Glenn James, as a person, I want to put more effort into here. Now, Glenn James also runs a business.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is these revenue pillars or the core things that are core to the business. We as a business need to put more effort in. And at the end of last year, we talked as a team looking at reviewing different stuff in March. We're going to go another first quarter of the year, look at all the data and see what is working and what isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want to be asleep at the wheel anymore with certain things and, really double-click, double down and just really see what's working.
What are your predictions for that March session? What do you think is going to be top performers for you in the business?
I don't want to say too much because there's different stakeholders and all that. But two of the big priorities will continue to be Retire Right and the main show, getting that YouTube audience done. We've just split Retire Right out of the main YouTube as its own channel, not within a playlist. So it's going to be probably, top of that money, growing that YouTube and Retire Right, focusing on that. And then I do want to do my Glenn James Business Bootcamp. So this business podcast, while at the moment it's not we don't really make money from this at the moment. I like doing it. You like doing it.
Yeah.
I want to, look at doing that online boot campy thing again, or potentially, you talked about you doing strategy calls for people.
Yep.
And if you want to reach out and spend an hour with Kayla on the phone for strategy,
yeah, I'd love to chat to you.
She'll do it. She'll charge you. But just really, So even this is business podcast for me. It is more of a personal outlet of enjoyment because I like talking about business.
Yep.
But I think I have a responsibility, if we are doing it as a team, that it stands up on its own.
Yep.
And it is potentially a revenue pillar.
Yeah.
or at least like you can get clients from it, Adrian can get clients from it, or we can do something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just this, as a business is a living thing. It's an organism. Things grow, good and bad. So people say, well, only good things grow or healthy things grow. Well, I know a few tumours that have grown.
Yeah, say that to my endometriosis.
Yes. Hello, Kayla's endometriosis. So, yeah, I just think it's if you've got a team or you've got staff, bring them along on this journey. One of the big things I've learned is explaining the why. So, hey, I think we want to go in this direction. This is the why.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anyone to do anything yet. We seek first to understand. It's always a good thing to start with. Seek first to understand. So I've been guilty in the past. I've walked in, kicked the door down with the bazooka. All right, team, we're doing. Let's go. Yeah. And they're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, sorry. I need to politely open the door and say, hey, peeps.
Because you've been thinking about this for, 6 months, so then you're ready to get started.
Yeah.
No one
so
else
it's
knows.
almost like, seek first to understand.
Yeah.
So have that in your mind when you're teaching and talking to the team about it.
Yeah. I think that's a really good audit for all businesses to do at the beginning of the year or a few times during the year. Like with my business, we look at the different industries we work in, and we were predominantly about 90% hospitality agency. And over the years, we've gone into other industries because we don't want to bottleneck ourselves into hospo. So now we look at the percentage of our revenue streams, like from different industries. And then we can make decisions on that and what work do we like doing, what's the most profitable, we can start planning things. So I think it's a really simple and easy audit that any business can do.
And what I do now, I share monthly with the team the income compared to previous months. And the bookkeeper has the month locked down within the first 2 weeks of the next month.
Yeah.
So really onto it. So what else are you thinking this year? You're doing no work started till a contract, believing in yourself.
Sorry, I took a big gulp of tea.
It's all right. It happens to the worst of us.
So the last thing I bring into 2026 is, as a business, we don't love to discount. I don't think many businesses do love to discount unless they have to. But there comes a time where, you might take up an opportunity that could bring in more work, or going back to my friend or not so friend, mates rates. Instead of providing mates rates, so instead of discounting, I want to provide more value. That could be, if it's a logo design, maybe you add in a couple of extra revisions, or you add in the design of a business card on top, or something.
Provided they pay for it.
Of course. Well, if you do choose to do a mates rate situation,
right,
rather than discount your current services, add on a little bit more value.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So mates rates, I'm charging you the same, but I'm giving you more.
Yes.
But in the same way, if I was going to go to another client and charge them the same, I'd be charging them for the more. So therefore, you're still doing mates rates.
Kind of, but I would rather...
Just don't do mates rates.
I mean, well, yeah, that's the obvious ideal, but we live in a practical world where, we sometimes like to help our friends, or maybe Glenn James doesn't, just Kayla Moss does.
Well, there's not much I don't know my business how I help friends.
True. Free business advice.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it is that you just need to continue to work in the high fee, high touch.
Like boutique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what boutique is.
Yeah.
And if there's any friends that want to work with you, they still pay. Like, I just don't think your friends should want to pay you full price.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Yeah, they should. I don't think we live in a perfect world where that is always the case. So if you do choose, I just don't want to discount. I'd rather add on something rather than reduce the cost of my services. That's what.
Yeah, but that adding on does cost the business.
It does, but I'm not. And I get what you mean, where you're like billable hours and whatnot, but I think most people, most mates, they want freebies or they want a cheaper service. And instead of applying a discount, I'm opting to add more value.
One thing I do is if someone I know says, hey, Glenn, I want you to, can you help me with my money stuff? The best thing I can do for them is say, you write down 10 questions you want me to answer, I'll do it on the podcast. So I'm like layering it.
Yeah.
So I am working for free, but I've got to make content anyway.
Yeah.
That's the kind of way that I can do mates rates. Now,
but then that's kind of same argument, right? Of you could, if you had a fee for one-on-one consulting or something, which I know you used to have you could book you for an hour or something back in the day for a rate.
That was up for like 10 minutes. Because I put on the website, you can have an hour with me for $1,000. People were clicking it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to take $1,000 because I don't think anyone's worth that for some online dude.
But say $1,000, we use that as the arbitrary value of your hourly rate. You could be charging $1,000 or you could be, I don't know how much you make per episode, but do you know what I mean?
More than 1,000. That's what I mean. It's worth more to me to get their questions, do the episode. 1, I've got to do episodes anyway. 2, it's good content.
Yeah.
And 3, I can actually make money from it. I don't know. I just think I get it. So Maddie's business, who did all the building here in the studio, they are commercial, high-end residential builders. They just do architecturally designed bespoke homes. They don't do commercial. And this is the problem, and maybe he needs boundaries. I'm like, you're doing my factory.
And this is a friend, like a person.
Yeah, a friend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I said as a friend, I'm like, do it, hook me up, but I don't want you to be losing money on it.
Yeah.
So we came to an arrangement, a cost plus. So do you know that in the building world?
No.
So a cost plus in the building industry is like we will charge you, if it cost us to get the materials $10,000, if it cost our labour $10,000, we will charge you that plus a 20% margin. So it's a cost price plus a margin.
Yep. And what's the difference between that versus how they would not otherwise quote?
Yeah, so how they would otherwise quote would be saying, we know that it's going to be 10 grand of materials. We know that it's going to be 10,000 of labour. We know that things go wrong and things blow out. So then they would add their internal profit margin. So they may say, we can do cost plus $20,000 plus 20%. So call it 24,000, or a business might say, we can do your renovation for 30 grand fixed cost. But there's a tension both sides. Most builders would rather do a cost plus because if things never go to plan, so they can just keep working and charging the cost plus a 20% margin or whatever that is.
Yeah, it's more dynamic.
Yes, where a fixed price, you want to increase it more because things don't always go to plan. Sometimes they will, and you could make money as the profit.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so that's the tension. So they said, look, I said, do it for me, just don't screw me. Like as a friend, I don't want you to be carrying the bag. And he said, yeah, we'll do it cost plus. And it wasn't their cost plus percentage, it was a bit less. So they were happy because they were still making money.
Yeah.
Sure, they took a hit on the extra that they would charge.
So you got a discount?
I did, potentially.
Isn't that the same?
But I think the difference is I said at least if it's raining, you've got work for the boys that's indoors.
Because it's commercial.
Yes, inside. So I think I'm saying he didn't have to discount me. He chose to and it was up to him.
Yeah.
So I think it's just...
So you're saying making sure it's a win...
It's got to be a win-win.
Win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When dealing with friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a given.
Yeah.
But, like, any job you take on should be... If you're doing a discount or whatever, like...
I've said to him, I'm like, when they did the second stage upstairs, I'm like, if you don't want to do this, like, don't.
Yeah.
But no, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. And that was the thing as a business owner, if you're doing cost plus, well, we're getting the cost of paying the wages. So they sent me the whole sheet. I see the costs like apprentice driving from the factory to here. Like that's a cost for the business I'm paying for plus a margin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why am I paying for a friggin' apprentice to drive to work? Because I'm paying the builder's costs plus a margin.
Yeah. But you'd be paying that normally. It's just more packaged up a little bit
But
nicer.
yeah, you usually are paying for that.
Yeah.
Normally, but with the cost plus, you see how the sausage is made.
Yes.
And their profit.
Yeah.
They'll just tell you this is our profit.
Yeah.
So the thing is, sure, he discounted it from the normal rate, but it was actually still more work for the business that they were maybe not otherwise had to make that profit, even though it was less.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So, but that's two sides of the coins. But I'm just thinking for you, you've just got to make sure, because the way you were explaining it, you weren't charging cost plus profit. You were still doing fixed fee and doing more work.
Yeah. I think I'm coming at it from the angle of, say $5,000 for a branding suite.
Yeah.
Rather than knocking off 10%, I would rather provide value in the form, say it's a business card, that the value that I'm providing is less than, do you know what I mean?
The soft value.
Yes, providing more soft value instead of discounting.
Yes, because the soft value is, we charge $1,000 for the business cards.
Yeah.
We'll just throw that in, or we'll just do that for $200 because it was nothing anyway. So it was the razzle dazzle that you're giving them, and that there's no actual real hard costs.
Yeah, but there's still value to the end user without having to discount. I just don't want services to be like a what's the word, race to the bottom.
Oh, no, definitely not. No, but you just got to protect yourself.
Yeah, and all of this is within reason, as in same with your the mate who did the construction, the building and stuff.
And that's it. Like, and this was the thing. It was for them because it was cost plus. He could pay his builders, and then the profit. Like it was just still extra work in his world that they were getting profit from.
Yeah.
Although the profit wasn't as much if they charged me rack rate, but they didn't have a guy in the unit next door saying, can you fit out our unit? What's the price?
Yeah.
And they've chosen me and not him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just...
With the cost plus thing, does that, what am I trying to say? With cost plus, does that mean they can be a little bit more lax on the cost of, say, that they're not trying to find the cheapest wood to get because it doesn't matter to them?
It doesn't matter because they just get what they need.
Yeah.
And they're just passing on their wholesale cost.
Yeah. And do a lot of customers like the cost plus?
Well, the thing is, I don't want to get buried here, but in the building world, the cost plus, it's good for the builder because if things blow out, it doesn't matter to them. We're passing on the cost. If the timber price increased or whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
But for the consumer, it might be harder to get finance if you're building a new home with cost plus because the bank wants a contract. So
pros and cons.
Yeah, it's like anything.
So you have one more.
I do. And I will say, before we press record, I was talking with Kayla over lunch and even before we press record about how much of a foul mood I'm in. So that's why I'm probably just picking a little bit more than I would have.
No, it makes for an entertaining episode.
Yeah, but I get it. You just don't want to be working for free this year.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You don't want to be taking advantage of by helping friends just because you have to, or we'll just do it and I'll send you the bill later.
Yeah.
But I will say so the building establishment who did the fit out for me, they were friends of mine. As soon as the invoice, like it was paid within a day. So, and like Wally, who did all the custom aluminium from Inspire Property and Fencing Ideas, anytime that they sent the invoice, paid within the day. I'm usually pretty good with invoices.
Yeah.
And then I've got a bit of a hierarchy. If there's an invoice that comes in that's from my friend's business, small business, I'll pay it. Bam. Next in the hierarchy is a generic local small business who I don't know. Bam, pay. They're a small business. Then it's like the big
corporations,
they can friggin' wait.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my vibe, but I'm usually pretty good. I'll pay an invoice pretty much as soon as it arrives. So I'm not the business that, and I get it with like, as businesses grow and there's corporate, hierarchy in that, I get some businesses get the invoice, goes in the pile, gets paid once a fortnight or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why strategically, anytime I issue an invoice to anyone, I put date of issue, could be the 10th of February, due date, 10th of February. Every invoice that I send out in my business, the due date is the same date that its invoice is made, because some businesses, they only pay invoices on the due date.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Most do, the people that we use, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in finishing for me, and it kind of ties back into the effort and the strategy, and that's cutting things that aren't working, and not necessarily aren't working, but aren't providing the impact that we need from it. Now, I usually, and it's true to a point, if we're putting our time and effort to something as business owners, we need at least one of these returns, preferably the first one, a monetary return.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is an impact return. So that could be you do once a quarter, you'll do a pro bono charity website update.
Mm-hmm.
There's no financial return, but there's an impact return.
Yep.
So always looking, let's have a look at what's working, what's getting a financial return and impact return. Ultimately, you want both.
Yeah.
So we produce Retire Right podcast, Money, Money, Money podcast. Everyone froths on it. Making lots of money, making lots of impact, perfect storm. The next would be money only. The next would be impact only. And then the next would be very small money or small impact.
Yep. I'm seeing a flow chart.
Yeah.
Like, does this
pretty much
provide monetary returns?
Yes. Yeah. So it's pretty much cutting things that are not working at all, or we're fluffing around using all this time and effort and there's no impact.
So what if you, I don't know, maybe it's a certain podcast topic, or I'm not sure how this would work in your business, but you love doing something, but it's not providing return or impact. Do you try to turn that around?
Yeah, or we cut it.
Or you cut it.
And that's the dance. Like, this is business here. It's not a huge audience, so it makes no money. The impact, it could be there. A lot of people might enjoy it.
Yeah.
But we need, because we're a large business, we need a certain size impact to make it worthwhile. So if there was only 300 people listening to, I haven't even looked at how many listen to each episode. There's not going to be many.
Yeah, I only looked at the total.
Yeah, so if it's not significant in our world, well, I think there's an argument to piss it off or turn it around and make some money out of it.
Yeah. Especially because all three of us are business owners.
Yeah.
So this time that we're spending in this podcast could be spent
generating revenue.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I'm putting effort in. I'm being more strategic and I'm cutting things that aren't providing a good financial return or an impact return. What's your summary?
I am no longer offering mates rates, but offering soft value instead. I'm not picking up a
mouse pointer.
Yeah. I'm not clacking on my keyboard until a contract is signed and deposit is paid. And I am putting more belief in myself this year. So if you see me on TikTok doing some weird thing, believe in me.
Are you a girl boss?
I am. I am.
Well, you can follow Kayla Mowles @by Kayla Mowles on Instagram. Slide into her DM if you want to do a strategy session about all your marketing and all that client attraction stuff.
Yep, online.
What do you charge for an hour session with someone?
Message me and find out.
Oh, okay. Sounds like it's over $600 to me. It should be. It should be, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I'll get you to do a quick review on that, and then I'll add it to my landing page.
Love it. All right, my friends, if you found this useful, please feel free to forward it to a friend or family member or another small business owner, because if you're a small business owner or you plan to be, you are cut or going to be cut from a different cloth.
If you have the same mental illness as us to be in entrepreneurship, send
Exactly.
it to a friend.
Love it. All right, bye.
Bye.
Any advice is general financial advice only, which does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Because of that, you should consider if the advice is appropriate to you and your needs before acting on the information. If you do choose to buy a financial product, read the Product Disclosure Statement, PDS, and Target Market Determination, TMD, and obtain appropriate financial advice tailored to your needs. Simo Interactive Pty Ltd, the publisher of this podcast, and Glenn James are authorised representatives of Money Sherpa Pty Ltd, which holds financial services license 451289. Opinions or comments from any guests on the podcast are theirs and not those of the host or the publisher or their respective license holders.